Hi everybody, Dave Rauch here, CEO of ProTech Building Services, and welcome to the Maintenance Manager and our special guest, Gina Falcon-Heneghan. And Gina is a community association manager who's been in this industry for over 30 years, correct?
Yes.
And Gina has some special strengths, and those special strengths I'm hoping you talk about today. But from my perspective, because we used to work together at Jaski, a HOA management company in San Diego, 30 years ago or 25 years ago, some long time ago. But Gina's strengths are she really is a great manager because she doesn't mince her words. She tells it like it is, and if you're working with a team of consultants and contractors, you don't have time to beat around the bush. You want to get right to it, and Gina does a great job of that. The other thing Gina does a great job at, and I'm sorry, Gina, for hogging the show here for a second, but
That's okay.
She does a great job of respecting her boards, but yet explaining to them why they need to make decisions. She actually manages versus just, going along with whatever they say. She also gives them her years of experience because she has learned that to succeed at managing HOAs especially takes a team of people, and she does a great job of that. So anyhow, Gina, welcome here, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
first wanted to ask you, how the hell did you get into this business?
Oh, well, actually, the 19th, just President's Day, just the other day, marked 37 years in this industry. Yes. Okay. So I started back in the day, the accounts payable, two ways to write checks, by the pen or the IBM typewriter, I don't know, but I'd learn. I'd, do my best. And so I learned all aspects of the accounting department and then moved into being an assistant into the manager's field.
So you've been learning and growing ever since.
Yes.
And I know you were very big on, when we worked together, on learning how things are done.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the keys to success.
Well, and that's it exactly, because it's always about growth. Don't become stale, think you know everything, because there's always things to be learned. You learn something every day.
So let's do this. Because we're talking to mostly community association managers. And we're also talking to board members. So let's talk about, let me get you to tell us first, what advice do you have for a board of directors? And then what advice do you have for, say, a new young community association manager getting into this business?
For a board member, even though you might have the different professions of life coming together to operate what is a nonprofit corporation, an actual business type deal, is to understand that there's parts that you might be familiar with but might not be, and take the moment to learn. And as a manager, it's a point of educating, and explaining, and not assuming that they're just going to jump on your train and ride with you. It's the point that you have to explain to them why, the importance of it, the consequences that could be suffered by it. And
so basically get some HOA education?
Yes.
And how do you recommend they do that?
Management companies do board orientations.
Board orientations.
It's valuable. I think it becomes more valuable on this day and age because it's equipped with Zoom.
Gotcha.
So it's easier to, filter through a Zoom meeting versus getting in the car and, going to the company and things of that nature. So, but education is the key.
And that's the number one thing you would recommend that board members do, is get that education on what an HOA is, how it's structured, read the documents, understand how the elections work, how the common interest is different than the separate interest or the exclusive use common area.
Yes.
And so just get some education. And what else would you recommend?
And the other thing is that, like your other interview talked about, being a firm, confident manager to explain things and things of that nature. And, early on, you don't have that. As a young manager coming in, you're trying to, build that confidence and things. And, people look at me today and go, you're that way. Well, no, you didn't see the mentors that I had that taught me and
Right,
a desire
right.
to be better. And it's all about a self-evaluation, in my opinion. That's what you need to do. And by doing that and utilizing like a management report with your board packet where you get to speak to the board uninterrupted is what I was taught. And I found that to be valuable, that you could say your piece, the good, the bad, the ugly, type deal, and then move on and know as a manager, you multitask it in an efficient way, but the point is that you are not an expert in everything.
Right.
So know where your limitation is by your experience, and then convince the board by education and a delivery of, hey, you need to bring in like the
Right.
Protect folks, the attorney, the CPA, to get over the hump so that you
Right.
can make your decision.
So as a
I talk-
recommendation to new managers is listen to your experts, listen to the team, get the team in to talk to the board of directors to explain how it's done. That's great advice.
And the other part for a new manager is, I've been in the industry for a long time, so I get asked, well, I'm not going to feed you your answer all the time, because you need to learn where to go, how to find it. If you get stuck, then we're here to help.
Right.
And so it's all about, I think, to this day, it's still about the inner drive that one has.
Right. But you're recommending, if you're a new community manager, get into this industry, you recommend strongly that they get a mentor, somebody that can be their friend and kind of show them the ropes. You recommend that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I wouldn't be as successful as I am based on the reputation that I've built, even though, like here, I've met, faces to go with the email names, and things of that nature. But it's all a point of understanding that we all work as a team, as a unit. I, as a manager, have many, positions to fill. I have to, understand what my role is. I have to look out for the best interests of the board. I have to convey the information. I have to get the information from the contractor to get back to the board. And if there's not a clear understanding and expectation of what that process is,
Right.
I've seen a lot of failing
Right.
points of it.
But I think you're also saying, though, understand yourself
Yes.
what is being talked about.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah. We don't have to be the expert. We just have to understand how the operation is.
So let's just take a new community association manager. How would you recommend they get the respect from the board and get the board to allow them to manage versus just sit there and take notes? And would it be what you just described, which is have an intimate understanding of the issues and the different team input?
Twofold.
Okay.
Twofold. One, understand, as we talked about, but then the issue is that for board meetings, we put together board packets. Okay, and so the board packet, as I was taught, was basically your report card. Your board packet is your report card to the board on why they're paying your bill, why they have you as the manager, the company as the management company. And in that, again, there's a management report that many do. And if you learn to use your management report, that also starts building that confidence with your board that then turns into, having a confidence level from the board so I could do my job.
So basically, communicate well everything that's going on through the board packet
Yes.
to the board.
Yes. I find it.
So use that board packet as more of just conveying information. Use it as a tool to build trust with the board.
Yes. You build confidence with the board, understanding that you know what you're doing. You can start talking with the board, and the board will then build that confidence level with you to do the managing side of it.
That's great advice.
I always say there's 3 no's. I know what I know what I don't, and I know where to go.
Yeah, and saying what you don't know is really important to build the trust again.
Yes.
With everybody, but especially a board of directors who are all focused in on you, the community manager.
Yes.
So yeah, saying, Hey, I don't know, but I will call my expert and I'll get an opinion and I'll have that for you next month.
Yes.
So that's great.
And do it. Follow through with it.
Any other tricks of the trade, Gina, that you have to share about having a good board meeting, keeping meetings to say an hour or two versus 4 hours?
Learning to again, the use of the management report, having things laid out as in a flow, type deal, having your board educated to understand that, here's the things, meeting your timelines. We get things out a week before the board meeting. Make sure you do that, because that also, if it's late, it drags on because people don't
lose
have
trust.
time to, you lose trust, but they don't have time to digest, understand.
But you are able to keep them to the agenda, to the timeline that's set there.
Yes.
What happens if they start drifting? What happens if they start off topic?
Well,
how do you keep them on focus?
For my boards, my contract is 2-hour meetings. Okay, anything
Okay.
over 2 hours is billed as an extra to the contract. My boards understand billing at the extra.
Gotcha.
And if the agenda's large, and we're jamming through, but we go over that too, I'll be courteous. But then if we're just like out, having a coffee break, basically, I'm charging.
Gotcha.
Because my
As you
time is
should.
valuable.
Yeah, because then there's a huge team of support around you too. It's not like they're just hiring Gina. They're hiring a big team. Now, as we know, we live here in California. There were some wildfires a year or two ago. I guess there's wildfires every year since the dawn of time. But those wildfires caused a huge increase in insurance premiums. How have you seen the changes on your boards? Have any of your boards gone from, say, paying $100,000 a year to $500,000 a year?
A couple of my associations lost their insurance as in a non-renewal, type deal, and other ones have increased. They're carrying like $20,000 and they jump up to 28. And your first thought is, okay, well, we understand based on the insurance environment this is going to happen. So how do we kind of like try to reduce that? And you think, okay, let's increase the deductible, but the deductible increase is only going to give you like $1,000 to $2,000 off of that mark. So it's hitting the associations dramatic. I had an association which is well over 30 years old who lost their insurance because the insurance company at the time did a non-renewal. Well, the new insurance company that came in said, we need pictures of these different things, and found that they had the old electrical panels. They got canceled.
And I was at a conference last week and heard that insurance companies all over the country are doing that.
Yes.
They're now going on site and they're identifying things that they think is a huge liability. Roofing being another, because obviously water leaks is a huge damage, a liability that they suffer, that they have to pay out on.
Yes.
Water damage. And so they're going around and actually strongly encouraging boards to properly maintain their communities and upgrade them in the case of the sub panels.
Yes. So it's kind of a bummer for the communities because, one, you're not budgeted that much for, such a high increase. You usually have been budgeting like 3% increase, 5% increase and things. So getting hit hard, which then increases assessments.
Insurance is large cost.
No, I'm dealing with the SB 326.
Oh, the 326. You want to talk about that one? The wonderful deck law, which is actually, it's difficult to deal with.
Yes.
But it is good getting boards to do those inspections.
Yeah.
My issue is there should still be other inspections too.
Yes.
In addition to just the decks. But tell us about your experience with the deck law and how you were able to get your boards. How did you educate them? How did you get them to comply with the inspection requirement? Did you see any crazy things when the inspections were done?
I have one association that's got hit pretty good on the SB. And what it is even though the law is going into effect in 2025, we've, through the education of CAI and everybody else, attorneys and things, they say jump on it and start now versus later because of costs, and things of that nature. So I have a couple boards that have jumped on the inspections and things. And unfortunately, I have one that's looking at a second floor walkway that has to be redone because of the structural concerns. But, whereas I've gotten 2 other ones dealt with, and they both came back in and no structural issues, which was great. So those associations have complied with the SB 326, and then they will just build in their repairs that have been seen. So apparently the maintenance versus the structural is 2 different things. And so the maintenance is able to be done over a course of time to fit within the finances and stuff. So,
and I'm not surprised you didn't experience many problems because you're an expert in maintenance and you get the maintenance done. You pay close attention to the maintenance of your communities.
Well, and that, again, it comes back to the education of the boards and their understanding that it's, you pay now for this much, but then if you don't, then you're going to be paying like this much. The board understands the, prolonging the life based on different maintenance programs.
How do you explain that to them? How do you explain to a board of directors that here is a fence that's broken or needs painting? How do you explain to them if you don't paint it and fix it today, it's going to be a lot more tomorrow and even a lot more next year? How do you explain that?
It's the understanding of how to present something to make it feel that, oh my gosh, I need, not threatening somebody, but yet just showing facts so that they can make the intelligent decision to pay now versus paying later.
And how later.
Exactly. And how, today's preventive programs help the reserve study components and, and it's all about wanting to be better than what, or let's put it this way, not settling for what you have to be better, but listening to the experts, because not all the experts can come to your meetings. So you might as well become, a pretty good expert in the sense of delivery. And then having the boards understand that, hey, okay, Gina brought us here, but maybe bringing in, the reserve consultant is going to get us, again, as I said, over the hump, the CPA, whatever.
You mentioned reserve studies, and so can we talk about that for a moment? The CAI just did a revamp of the reserve studies. They did an update. Well, they now incorporate all the components, not just those with a 30-year life. They now incorporate maintenance. So if an association has an ongoing maintenance program, then they can reduce the amount of reserves that are going into the reserve fund. Because, the key is, as you know, and maybe you can give us your perspective, the key is not just putting aside money to replace something at year 10, 20, 30. The key is to get the longest possible life out of that building component so you don't have to spend that money.
Yes.
Right? So do you have any perspective on that whole saving of money by...
Well, the reason I got excited was because, again, the value of the maintenance programs, the painting programs, the maintenance on the roof on an annual basis, all of those items have always been the argument with reserve studies on my part. For my associations that have those things in place, I've always told my reserve consultants they have this because of the understanding that by having these programs in place, it extends the life. So my reserve consultants understand that we have that. So
it's a great tool to have a conversation with the board, though.
Yes.
And bring in that reserve analyst and have them explain how, what's going on out there in the community, or your maintenance contractor.
Yeah.
Tell us the hardest part of your job. Are there any parts of your job that you don't like or that are real difficult?
The one part of the job is the follow-up. And that's the thing that has always been the thorn in the side, is why do I need to follow up?
So that's a pain. That's a pain.
That's basically the pain for myself and
Gotcha.
stuff. The benefits.
Now, I'm sorry. Let me
no.
dig here a little bit. So, follow up. You're talking about following up. Where's the bid? Or following up. Where's that information? Or where's that phone number you said you'd send me? Tell me the
Yeah.
types of follow up that.
Those are exactly it.
Okay.
You know, and the good news is for I don't have to do that much in respect to the contractors that I have that work on my associations and things because they're all equipped. They all follow through.
Yeah.
Because they understand the importance of everybody working together, because there's times where I have to, you know, be the mean guy because the board didn't get something or it wasn't done to their expectation. But then I'm also looking at the board going, hey, my guys have done, you asked for this, this, and this. This is what maintenance did. This is what landscaping did. As a portfolio manager, it's a lot of multitasking for each associations and meeting their demands and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, one association doesn't really care about, you know, the needs of another. They still think that you have to do this. And so the issue is that based on the teams that are in place, it makes my life easier because they do follow through. It's very rare that I have to ask, hey, you guys missed the deadline.
But the way you've been able to build trust in your teams, the teams you put together for each of your communities, is because, and I'm assuming that you're upfront with them. Like I said in the introduction, that you let people know, let contractors know or vendors know when they're wrong, and you don't beat around the bush. You just say, hey, that's not what I understood, or whatever, to get the communication correct.
Yes.
But anyhow, thank you so much, Gina. Appreciate your time here today and helping all the new managers and board members understand how this crazy HOA business works, right? Appreciate it, Gina. Thank you for your time. Thanks for all you do for the industry.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and please stay safe.